currently converting a 4-bed house into a 6-bed all-ensuite HMO. The common thing that investors, mess up on, which ends up costing them a lot more money than they initially planned for, and also can lead to a lot of delays and a lot of problems within the actual refurb itself, is not having a proper design intent and a proper scope of works before you actually get into the building process. I know a lot of people say this, but it's so important, and I see it, time and time again in my day job with clients working on big commercial projects. You need to have a clear specification, which means you basically know everything, a big shopping list of items, before you actually get into the build, which you can give to the contractor, especially if you can back these up with kind of images of the finishes that you're looking for, or actually links to the finishes or the things that you want in the property, so they can really get a really good price on it, a really accurate price. So this allows the contractor to get a really good gauge on the type of spec or finish or items in the property which you actually need, and this in turn makes their actual quote, which they quote for the final job, to be a lot more accurate and a lot closer to what you actually end up paying. Because what you'll often see is you'll get a cheap quote, and then throughout the build you'll have this crop up, or we didn't allow for this, we didn't allow for this, we didn't think you wanted this. Maybe sometimes the client doesn't know themselves and they're deciding throughout the build, and then this causes delays, this causes costs. And one thing that people don't, it's not just the actual capital cost of the refurb, that it's going to be more expensive when you're doing these things during the actual progress of the works, but it's also all of the loss of rent, and especially if you're on finance, all of the bridging costs. Literally, for example, this HMO that I'm doing now is going to produce me about £4,500 gross every month. Now, if you've got bridging costs on top of that, you could be looking at £6,000 to £7,000 every month coming out of your pocket for every month that they delay. That's number one. And then number two, you obviously have all of the capital costs, all of the actual cost increases, because you've not actually thought, oh, we need this number of sockets, I need this number of switches, I need, this and that. If you need any help with, calculating a refurb for your HMOs or anything HMO related, just drop me a DM, I'll be happy to help. Nice one, team.